it's just frustrating to me, and I imagine it will be to you too, if people are like, oh man, he had this one great record, or not just you, but people in general, you know,
Right.
when no, they got 7 great records or however many it is. Because we barely got into Jewelz right now. We've been talking more than an hour. So,
Right. Yo, people don't understand. Like, my catalog could go shot for shot with mostly anybody. And I'm not talking about nondescript records, like records that people would know. Oh, shit, I forgot about that. Oh, word. Oh, yeah. I got joints.
Yeah. So back to Jewelz and speak about joints. When the G is one of my favorites on there for a lot of reasons. But with Dangerous and When the G, we got Big L and Freddie Fox, Bumpy Knuckles. But the thing I always thought was interesting about those two is those two guys are so gangster, but they're also hilarious. They have a funny element. So speaking with the Bumpy Knuckles in particular and Big L, how do you think they're able to make it be so rough and tough, but then also make you laugh or at least chuckle or smile so much?
Because this is what people sit around and do, and this goes back to the everyday life shit. Like, I used to sit around with March and them, and we used to crack jokes, and some of them jokes would end up actually as songs, like Roosevelt Franklin or something like that. Like, yo, these things that we would sit around and gig on other artists. Yo, you see what he had on? Yo, he looked crazy. Things like that we used to sit around and actually talk about. And you know, as far as the same thing goes with Bump, same thing goes with L. L would watch everything. You couldn't, anything you would say, he would probably basically just put it in a process and keep it in back of his mind. And you know, hence a record like Ebonics. That didn't take a day for him to write. You know what I'm saying? You talking about a lifetime of slang up to that point. He took basically every slang word from years prior up to that point and made a record out of it. And I think Bump is the same way. You know, with him, dude is a genius. People don't even give him enough credit. Dude can play instruments.
He's amazing.
When the G is his idea. The other record on, damn, what's the name of the other song we did on my album? We did When the G and we did M.U.G, Money Underground. Those is Bump's ideas. I always I know he probably say, why you tell people that, but it was his ideas. Like, and I wanted to work with him. And before I met him, you know, that was Showbiz homies. So I told Show I need to get that dude and, you know, forget all the scary talk you hear about him and shit like that. You know, I'm used to being around dudes like that. I want to work with him because I'm a fan of him. I'm a fan of the master and shit like that prior to him. You know, prior to people knowing Bumpy Knuckles. Like, I know Freddie Fox, the master records and, you know, stuff like that, and being on G-Rap's album and, you know, Money in the Bank and stuff like that. And I was a fan ever since. And, you know, he came in, he orchestrated that. And I let him. I was just like, yo, it was interesting watching him work. Because people think artists go in and we light incense or we drink a 40 or we smoke an L. It was none of that. We laughed, we joked, we talked. And I think that's what came up with, you know, that's what brought the ideas on when you sit around and powwow. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And same thing with L. You'd never know with him. Like, you know, he'd probably get the whole room upset, joking and shit and telling you what you can't do to him. And, you know, if you put your hands on him, what might happen to you. And and you like, yo, you serious or you playing? I don't know. You got to find out. You know, that was him. And, you know, just being around these creative people, man, makes you want to be even more creative. You know what I'm saying? So it's competition. It's actually friendly competition.
Okay. And then on the top of Jewelz is the My World record. And similar to Creative Control, you had a very like serious tone to it. But the line that stood out to me was, "The stress almost hold me down from being a master." So obviously in rap, we have a lot of talk about knowledge itself and that type of stuff. But I wanted you to explain how, when, and why did you learn that stress, shout out to Organized Confusion for the album, but in general, how did you understand that stress and being in control of your mind and your emotions really was going to help you or hurt you in such a significant way?
I mean, shit, just people telling me, especially, you know, grown folk, elders, stress will kill you. I always heard that growing up. Stress will kill you. And I never understood that until I passed out one day.
Oh, really? What happened?
Just being stressed out, like going through being a teenager to an adult, trying to find myself. I think I dropped out of school at this point. Couldn't find a job. And, you know, this is probably 17, 18. And I don't remember falling out, but I remember waking up. And I didn't know what that, you know, I didn't know what that was. That was, I passed out because I was stressed out. Like that much, I didn't know that much stress existed in this world until I bumped my head and woke up.
Wow.
So that's where the line came from.
That's crazy. But the other interesting thing about that song is the Premier did that one, but it's also very like sonically, it's kind of somber. But a lot of the lyrics are very like aspirational or positive. So how did you think that those lyrics fit over that beat in particular?
First of all, Preem ain't like the beat at first. He thought it sounded like something like Shook Ones. Okay. If you listen to it, the bass line and stuff like that. I liked it right off the rip when he played it. When he, you know, Preem don't give you a beat tape. He produces right on the spot. So I think around that time I was listening to The Rule Is Back album. And I mean, look how the record started off. My man Slick Rick said, "I waited a long time sweating it. It's from a song called Runaway off that album." And I think I was having a lot of fun around that time too. Like I said, I was touring real heavy. I was making a lot of money and just going through that fun chamber at that moment. But then it was time to get to work. You know, the deal was already done. And I don't know. When I heard the music, I think Preem didn't have no weed, so he left. I wrote the whole record. Like I said prior to this, I don't write in the studio, but it just inspired me so much from what was going on from the first album, the touring, to having fun, to partying, to you actually listen to that record. It's kind of like a selfish song. It's my world. It's my world. And I won't stop. And if you stand in my way, you're bound to get shot. Like, you know, I was feeling myself.
Right.
I was really not feeling myself to the point where it was arrogance, where it was blinding me, but, you know, stress almost held me down from being the master, the pastor, the preacher, poet, teacher. You know, I believe that I'm needed in rapping. Everything is confident in that record if you actually listen to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's aspirational. It's a lot of positive imagery and messaging in there. And it just always struck me that the beat didn't necessarily reflect that all the time or at all.
Right.
So I was just
curious. I mean, for some reason that beat, the beat hypnotized me from Bar 1 to the end. Top choice. This head nigga got poise. Ain't a man alive who can stop my noise. I snatch a star from the sky. I spark up your lie with it. You stand astounded, wondering how I did it. Now you're starstruck. Like I truck gold, treating me like a man having a million records sold. Now to start, like I was feeling myself. I was really like, I found my pocket.
Absolutely. All right. Now, on to two of the more interesting songs that are very different with the Can't Go Wrong and Far From Yours. With Can't Go Wrong, I think people forget because of I Need Love, but there were a lot of records around, like Don't You Know by Heavy D, for instance. Craig G, Why'd You Have to Go? There were a lot of songs that dealt with actually love, not having sex, not just being wild with a woman or whatever.
Right.
And your song, you know, carried on that tradition, I think. So why was it important to actually write a song to you about love?
I'm going to show you why right now.
All right. Hello.
I've been with this woman 30 years.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Congratulations.
I've been with her 30 years, man. The song is a truthful song. Like, we got a bond. Like, nobody could break our bond. For all the bullshit we've been through, for all the bullshit I put it through, nobody could come between that. Like, and I think it's coming from that era of balancing out your album with showing different sides of yourself.
Okay.
That's all that is, but it's a true song. That's my wife, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've been together for 30 years, since high school.
Congratulations, man. That's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Beautiful thing. Yeah. And I think it's awesome that, you know, you acknowledge that today. So that's even better.
Yeah, nah. Yo, I think a lot of us hit it because we was doing our bullshit when we was younger. Right. So, you know, fucking around and messing with other women. But, I mean, I don't involve her actually in my life because, I mean, as far as my rap life, because it's not what she want to do.
Right.
You know, I keep that separate, but I don't hide it. If it's something for me to talk about, I talk about it.
Okay. And then with Far From Yours, what impact do you think that song had on your career?
I don't know. Did it have an impact on my career?
I think some people, it wasn't my favorite song on the album. I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't my favorite. Most of the ones we talked about are my favorites. So
right.
The thing
All
is,
right, so I kind of understand what you're saying. I think people, at first I got a lot of flack for Jewelz. People were saying it was a sellout record, and I didn't understand that. I was just like, how is it a sellout record? Like, and then Far From Yours, which I actually chose, and which actually people was like, that's the Tevin Campbell, and I was like, no. That's the Quincy Jones record, Brothers Johnson. I.e. later on, Quincy did, you know, the Back on the Block album and redid the record with Tevin Campbell, but the original record is Brothers Johnson.
Right. And
it's too long to be a radio record. First of all, if you really listen to the record, it's got scratches in it.
Yeah, it's not as commercial as people think it is.
It's not as commercial as I felt, you know, people thought it was, but, you know, it was just one of those records for me, like, that used to get played when I was young. That's why I did the record. I love the record because my parents played the record so much.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, M.G. Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles,
the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
It will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
What's that 5 on Young TV back with NWA?
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The history of gangster rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The history of gangster rap in stores now.